Hello everyone, welcome to this practice. We're going to do some practice seated on the ground. So I'm going to come to sit on a pillow. Then you can come and sit whatever way you like. Maybe you want to be cross-legged. Maybe you want to have your feet together, knees up to the side. This is how I like to sit because it leaves me room for my belly. And we're going to do another wrist-free practice today. This one's just going to be seated. So we'll take a few breaths wherever you are, whatever it looks like. Maybe you want to close your eyes. Maybe you want to lift up one hand towards the sky, sitting up nice and tall, seeing what this feels like in your shoulder and in your back. Close your eyes again. Breathe here. You can lower that hand down. You can do the same thing on the other side. Or we could do some arm circles, inhaling one arm up. Exhaling it down, inhaling the other one up, exhaling it down. Taking any breath you need to here, really noticing, maybe doing a little check-in with your body and noticing what's happening here. How does this feel for you today? Are you looking forward to this practice? Or you wonder, why am I doing this movement? Just checking in with how you're feeling in this moment. Maybe we want to take one hand and bring it over to the opposite side of the body. And we don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, so we can either just gently put our fingertips on our leg, or we could have it sort of our arm pressing into our belly, letting our hand rest. We can bring the other arm behind us. We don't have to rest it on the floor. We can bring it behind our back. An option to look behind over that back shoulder. Breathing here. And then we can do the same thing and bring those arms in front. We'll bring that hand to the opposite side of the leg or the opposite side of the belly. Bring that other hand behind your back. Option to look over that back shoulder. And a little twist here, very gentle. And then coming back in. Maybe we want to take one hand and let it dangle down beside it. So we don't have to put our pressure onto the ground, just letting it dangle. Raising the other hand up. Option to look up, seeing if there's a side stretch there for you. Taking a breath. And then maybe you want to take this hand and lean it down towards that opposite leg. It doesn't have to touch, but just in that direction. See how that feels. And then we can raise it back up and then lower it down. I'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So letting this hand dangle. Raising the other one up for a side stretch. And then the option to lower it in front. And then bring it back up. And then lower it down and shake it out. Maybe doing some shoulder rolls one way, doing some shoulder rolls the other way. We could open up our hands out to the side, opening up our chest. Maybe our chin comes towards the sky. And then let's give ourselves a big hug. One arm is on top, noticing which one. Maybe your chin comes down towards your chest and you round your back shoulders. Taking a breath, and then we open up. This time we're going to hug ourselves again, but we're going to put the opposite arm on top. Normally we put our dominant hand on first, so notice that. And then shake that out. Maybe you want to do a little bit of a fold here. So I love to fold in butterfly, but maybe you don't love to do that. And if it doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. You can sit in any other way. You can sit cross-legged or with your legs to the side while you hold forward. So you choose. And if you try one way and you're like, oh, that's terrible, come out of it and you can come back in another way. So we have the option of hinging here. So we're going to lower our belly, hinging at our hips, letting our hands come down. They can rest on our feet. You don't have to put pressure into them. We can look forward. And breathe here. Noticing, what do you feel in your hips? If you have your feet to one side, like you're like this, and you're leaning forward, the next time you do this, just make sure your feet are to the opposite side. So that way you're stretching out both your hips equally. Because we will do it again. And then we'll come back up. We have the option of bringing our feet out nice and wide. We could sit tall and point and flex our toes. Maybe you want to think about Hinging at the hips again, and this time lowering your torso down. And again, you can bring your hands down to rest. You leave them resting on your legs. You have the option of looking forward or looking down. And notice, how does this feel in your back of your legs? Like for me, this is like fire, burning fire in the back of my legs. So maybe you feel that too, or maybe it feels different for you. But just like exploring what's different about this than when you had your feet in that other position you were just in. And then we can slowly come to sit up. We're going to take one leg, we're going to bring it in towards the opposite side, coming into like a seated tree position. It doesn't have to touch your leg, it can be out more in front. We'll turn our torso to face this long leg, the one that's extended. We have the option of raising up our hands and then slowly folding, bring your hands down to rest on that leg. And again, we don't have to put any pressure in them anywhere, we're just letting them rest. Noticing what you feel along the back line of your body. And then we can slowly come to sit back up. Maybe we'll bring our feet towards one another. We can think about hinging at our hips again. So maybe you're in this butterfly pose. If you're not, like if you decided to sit like this before, do the same thing, just have your feet the other way, as I mentioned. And we'll do that fold forward. So hinging at those hips, coming down, again, resting our hands, looking forward, feeling that stretch in the hip, breathing. And then we'll slowly come back up. We'll raise the opposite leg out one more time, bringing that foot back in. Option to bring it close to that leg or having it further, whatever feels better. We'll turn that torso to face over that long leg. And then maybe you want to raise your arms before we fold down, lowering down on top of that leg, feeling the stretch in the back of your body. And again, no pressure in your wrists, no pushing down into your legs, no obligation to try and reach your toes. We're just here to feel a little something in our back. And maybe you feel it in the back line of your leg instead. So good. We all feel things differently. Breathe. And then maybe we come back up. Option to take this other leg out in that V shape again, pointing and flexing our toes. And again, you can do another hinge, hinging at the hips, coming down, letting your hands rest, looking down or looking out straight. You choose. And again, seeing what do you notice? What do you feel here? Breathing. And then we'll slowly come back up. We can bring our legs together, sitting in a position that feels good. So like, do you want to be cross-legged? Do you want to be at this shape? Whatever. Another thing you could do if you have blocks, you don't have to, but if you have blocks or pillows is more comfortable. You can put them on your knees. And that's helpful when we're sitting in this butterfly shape because it takes up that space and therefore there isn't that space for gravity to like pull your legs down through, so it's not as intense in your hip. So that's always an option. Take a few breaths here, and then maybe we want to come into some seated cat-cows. So a lot of times people do cat-cow in tabletop, which is when you're on your hands and knees, and that can be really hard on your wrists. So instead, maybe we want to think about inhaling, filling up our bellies with air, arching our spine, sticking our chest out in front, maybe thinking about our tailbone coming out the back of where we're sitting. Inhale, maybe chin towards the sky, and as you exhale, round your back, round your shoulders, chin going down towards your chest. Letting all the air out. And then we can alternate chin up, arching the spine, tailbone out, and then tuck your tailbone underneath where you're sitting, rounding the spine, chin towards chest, air leaves the body, and we alternate. And if one of these feels really good, like if cat feels really good here, you can just linger in it. You don't have to alternate, so you choose what feels better for you. And then doing a few more of those. And then we can shake things out. Maybe you want to do a little twist. Maybe you want to do a little arm movement. We can bring our hands down, taking a few breaths together. I hope you enjoyed this gentle, wrist-free practice, and know that there's plenty of ways to do yoga that doesn't include putting a lot of pressure on your wrists. So feel free to explore different movements and just see what feels best in your body. Thank you. Hopefully we practice again together soon.